So our story continues with a view of Vegito in his true demon form, but with a far more forlorn look than usual, having not only just lost his time rings, but also suddenly defeated by the god of Zeno, and in the same vein, then mysteriously left alive. And as we zoom in on his palpably confused and lost presence, he would begin muttering out, "It happened again. I was defeated easily.
Yeah.
And now, even my trump card, my one way to maybe have beaten Zeno, the time rings, are all gone. I will never be able to bring them back." As behind the saddened godkiller, visions of his deceased and erased family would appear to haunt him. But suddenly, like a ticking time bomb, Vegito would then explode rapidly in rage, turning his negative emotion into power as he lets everything out. And as we look at viewers from a distance, the end result is a humongous explosion of power, creating a sphere of red energy with black lightning tumbling all over. While meanwhile,
Oh yeah, they're still there. I totally forgot about
seeing
that.
the sudden planet-shaking quake,
Wait,
charge of insane
Z
energy,
just left them.
the three forgotten deities left behind by Z would all stand in panic, stepping back in fear, with Mule whispering,
Damn, Z just left
"Wait a
them.
second! Z! I don't sense him anymore! Is he coming back? At the very least, his energy barrier is still here to protect us, right?" But Vegito, once his unleashing of rage is complete, even from that distance, would hear their whimpers.
Yeah, he shouldn't have said. They shouldn't have said anything.
"If you fools really think that little glass house you're in is going to protect you, then you have another thing coming. I'm mad right now, and I could use something to take it all out on. Who's first? Any takers?" No! And in
Yeah.
response to this sudden
They look
threat,
shook
the
right
three
now.
gods
I mean,
would
I
once
don't blame
more
them, to be
cower in
honest.
fear and terror, knowing they are only inches away from death if Vegito's threat was true. But at least Z's energy was still holding strong. But with a pessimistic view, Mule, despite this, would worry, "That damn god! I don't know what he's up to, but that freak over there tried breaking this already. If it's still up, then it means Z will be back. Maybe this is just part of his plan. Maybe this is..." But suddenly, as Mule
no.
would begin making up various theories and
Oh,
explanations
no.
to where the royal guard was,
Oh,
unexpectedly, the energy barrier would then begin dissipating right
It's
before his
done.
eyes.
It's over with.
What? Huh? No! How? Leaving all three to now be left panic-stricken and more vulnerable than ever, with the God Killer just looking back, noticing and saying, "Well, looks like now I don't even need to worry about that silly dome after all. Guess you three don't exactly have God's favor." But with no options left and nowhere to run, the brave angels and born defenders of the destroyers, Campari and Owamo, would quickly get into fighting stance, sweat dripping from their brow as Campari would say, "No, I refuse to believe Lord Z would abandon us without good reason. Father would not allow this. Think about it, Owamo. The God Killer was on the verge of losing. His power must have deteriorated now to the level that we can defeat him. That must be the reason. To which
I
Owama
hope
would
so.
agree,
For your sake, I do hope so.
Yes, brother. That has to be it. While the concerningly unconvinced mule just remains silent in the background. And with their conviction set in their faith in Z, the two naive angels would rush in at the god killer, staffs in hand, and perhaps straight to their untimely deaths. But as they approach, the once moody Vegito,
he did say he was
then
mad,
crack a
right?
smirk
Oh man, I'm
as
kind
he
of
would let
scared.
out,
I'm kind of scared,
after
bro.
all that just happened to me, I didn't know how long it would take me to regain my resolve. But gods like you just remind me how pointless your existences truly are. And instantly, with extreme speed that leaves even the angels looking back in confusion, Vegito would suddenly move forward and appear straight behind the two perplexed children of Dawn. Before turning around with his signature chuckle and saying, "You two have more than outstayed your welcome. Good night, my sweet angel." And with that ominous line said, only a nanosecond later, both angels would experience a hard and sharp knock to the back of each's neck, almost at exactly the same time. And instantly, like putting down two tired children, both Campari and Owamo are instantly knocked out unconscious, slamming down onto their faces, their eyes already closed and lifeless, as Vegito just stands behind.
I mean, to be honest, that
as
was.
if he had not moved an
I
inch.
mean, that was
His arms and
a
hands
decent,
just simply
calm death. Consider, because he's gonna absorb them, right? But, yeah.
And now,
There we go.
your energy is mine! As quickly,
At least they're
for the first
unconscious,
time in a
right? I
long
mean,
time,
Vegito took it easy
Vegito
on them, to be
would
honest.
unleash his cell tail, given to him by Jiren, with a splash of green goo. Instantly stabbing it into
That kinda sounds
the silent
disgusting,
body of
bro, but-
Owamo first. Huh? What is that? Shocking the last remaining destroyer.
I mean, they're unconscious,
Final
so I mean, this
defenders
is
now begin
compared to what I've seen
to
before.
before his eyes
This
with
is,
complete
you know,
ease. Vegito smiling, looking down.
It's
at
a
his
peaceful
meal, would
death,
begin
I
to reply,
guess.
though. Watch closely, and you'll know exactly what this is. And moments later, the horrific sight of the once plump Owamo turning into a pile of creased skin flaps would then be seen. And next, Campari would then be injected too.
Bro, I was drinking something, bro.
Within
That
seconds,
noise sounded
completely
disgusting,
robbed of
bro.
his
What the-
energy and life force also. And of the two angels now added to the God Killer's kill list, Vegito would snap back his cell tail.
They didn't feel
looking
anything,
hardly
right?
Impressed. As he then looks to Mew finally and says, "Well, that was underwhelming as usual. Is there even any real point in harvesting your energy now, Mule? How about you save us all some time and off yourself for my amusement?" No! 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 And with ultimate fear and vulnerability,
This is the last
in
kind of
heart,
destruction,
with a
right?
blue hue over his face, the final destroyer would just scream
Yeah,
out
final,
before, "Ah, get away from me!"
he's running
In a
away.
final ditch effort, the short god, who is more used to being in machines than on foot, would attempt to run away, hoping Vegito would have mercy on him. Looking back, Mule, in a panic state, is barely able to see anything, as sweat drips into his eyes, but he would think, "I have to survive! I can't die like this! This can't be happening! Zeno! Grand Priest! Please help me!"
Oh, damn.
But as Vegito stares back coldly, the mention of those two only serves to anger him, as he mutters back, Zeno, just what game are you playing with me?
Whoa.
But Mule,
What just
not
happened?
looking where he is going, would eventually then bump his head onto a hard, unmoving surface. Damn it! Falling back swiftly onto his backside. Before with a groan, looking down, he would say, I need to keep going. And he would slowly then raise his head to see what he had even collided with.
Yeah, rock, right?
What? And standing there like a cinder,
Oh, no.
it is
Oh,
revealed
no.
to be Vegito
That was not a
himself,
rock. Never
ready
mind.
for his final kill of the day. With his arms folded, he would simply let out, And where do you think you're going, Destroyer? I may have let that cowardly god escape, but you'd be a fool to think I'd allow you to do the same. Now hurry up and become one with me. No! One with you? Please, spare me! Leading to the now on the verge of tears god to plead for his life pathetically, looking up at the mortal he once disregarded. But Vegito would only find amusement from the destroyer's begging, changing his mood from his earlier embarrassment at the hands of Z before he would humor Mule. Spare you, Mule? Tell me, exactly why would I do that to the final god of destruction on my list after coming this far? Why you? Do you think my rage has subsided by now? Because I can assure you, it's only just begun. Wait. Well, first of all, what if I told you I'm not even the last remaining destroyer? And in his last moments, Mule would reveal something strange. Immediately stopping Vegito from moving any further, as he, in a dubious tone, would inquire, Another destroyer? Stop with the lies! What on earth are you talking about? What on earth? How ironic. As Mule, now smiling awkwardly, realizing his apparent chance to bargain, would then respond, There is indeed a final destroyer out there, and I will bet my life on it. There is one you have missed out on. I assumed you knew this, but if you did not, I can help you.
What is he talking
I
about?
can bring you to him. All you need to do is
just go ahead and get erased.
But before any more
Yeah, what was he
words
talking
said,
about, man?
In brutal fashion, like kicking a football in rage, Vegito would slam his foot straight into the face of the child-sized god.
Whoa.
So hard, and with such a lack of remorse, the entire face of Mule.
Yeah, he's talking about some
was
god of
concave
destruction. Like,
in,
what is he talking about,
breaking
right?
the very bones
And
of his
he's trying to be
skull.
funny, talking about what
Blood
on
was
earth? Yeah, nah, he had this coming, bro.
Sending the near-dead body of Mule shooting into the sky at speeds he's never even experienced before. His eyes closed and teeth all busted up as he soars with blood shooting out, only finally muttering, You damn demon! As from the ground, the God Killer would just lift his palm out to the now small dot in the sky that is Mule before. Final destroyer or not, these will be your final moments! Hakai! Before screaming out,
Oh, damn,
the
he didn't- he-
words
he-
of the
he didn't even
final
absorb
finisher
him.
move Of
Damn.
Vegito, the God Killer.
Okay.
Instantly erasing the screaming Mule to absolute nothingness. but with so much force, the once whole planet they were on, when seen from space, would then suddenly have a third of its surface
Oh, damn,
erased
wait,
along
what?
with the god too. And in the aftermath, Vegito would just then remain, standing at the edge of the planet's amputated surface in silence, looking over to the endless expanse of space.
Yo, how would that look?
Eventually,
Bro, how would that
looking to
look?
the sky, still partially affected by the events of his battle with Z, and would think, everything seems to be never-ending. Zeno won't even allow my death, and at the same time, now there's another destroyer? Who? Where? I guess there's only one way for me to find out. Immediately then following this up by summoning his angel star.
Okay, I guess we're gonna
the
see if
one
there's another
given to him
destroyer.
by
I don't
Before
think there's
putting it
another one,
close to
right?
his face, and in classic style yelling, "Staff! Take me to this so-called final god of destruction!" And just
Are they
like
talking about
that,
Jiren? Wait, who else are they talking
confirming
about?
the existence of one more destroyer. After all, Vegito would then shoot off in a beam of light to his next destination. Meanwhile though, the scene would not stay with Vegito, and soon we would be greeted with Jiren's calm face, his eyes still closed, and in total silence.
This is where Makoto
And as we
showed
zoom
up,
out,
right?
we
Makoto?
continue to be surrounded in energy as he continues to meditate despite the figure who had just arrived on the scene. And of course, watching on from the distance with his arms folded would be Makoto, smirking at Jiren's audacity as he would comment, "What an interesting fellow. Standing before him is his death sentence, and he still dares carry on without as much as giving me a gaze. He's either extremely overconfident or extremely stupid." But suddenly, looking from a distance, the aura around Jiren would then instantly disappear before... Out of nowhere, Jiren would burst open his eyes finally, now awake as he looks stoically and lets out, "So, just as Son Goku had said, a member of the 5 strongest has finally come for me. And for what? Because I killed Belmod, I presume?" To which Makoto, smiling back, would just reply, "Ha! So you do know why I'm here. Most of my victims often feign innocence. It's good to see you have accepted your fate, young pride trooper." Jiren, now getting up with his eyes closed once more and relaxed, would sigh and say back, "I know not the fate you have in mind for me, but yes, I have accepted the fate that I know. Though, tell me before we begin, you referred to me as the second God Killer. Should you not be chasing after the first God Killer before me? I can't help but think he would have a far longer list of cardinal sins than I." And almost pleased to say his next line, with a smirk, Makoto would then reveal, that would be correct. No doubt the famed Vegito of Universe 7 has laid waste to far more gods and angels than you ever did. And in truth, I would far rather be assigned to eliminate him than you. But unfortunately, it seems our friend is already dead. It's making the former destroyer lose his cool, as his face goes into shock and he whispers, "Son Goku, is dead? No! And giggling as if familiar.
Well, I mean, he's not dead yet.
Jiren and Vegito, Makoto would then go on to explain with a smile. Yes, Jiren, you are the only god killer left now. Not too long ago, for reasons that even I have no clue about, Lord Zeno decided to send down one of his royal guards to finish Vegito off. True overkill in my opinion, but that is the reason I could not do the job. Safe to say, there would only be one survivor in that battle. The power of those guards is something I know all too well. And slowly, as Jiren would hear this, almost instinctively, without control over himself, his body would begin tensing as a flush of emotion comes over him. And with rubble rising as his body becomes covered in black lightning, he would then grumble, "Son Goku, you fool! I told you to get out while you could!" But almost on the instant that this change begins to happen, Makoto would quickly grab onto the handle of his sword, as if on an instinct of his own. And once revealed to be completely in sword stance, ready to unsheathe...
It's a lot of swordsmen, actually, now that I think about it, right?
I'm going to assume this rise in energy is your way of starting our battle, young one. But if you think a samurai waits for his opponent to reach his full strength, then you are sadly mistaken. Let's just hope you finish your transformation fast enough to keep up with my katana. I will not wait around. And ominously, as we zoom in on one side of the fourth's face, he would ask finally, "Ready, God Killer?" To which Jiren would only mutter, "Son Goku." And immediately, with intense speed and perfect technique, Makoto would launch out and swipe his katana at full speed directly towards Jiren, who would still remain at a distance. But even so, just the swipe itself would create a scythe-like expanse of white energy that would shoot off with unspeakable speed straight towards the God Killer, cutting through anything in its way. And as it would approach, Jiren would remain still and not saying a word. Like a statue, the energy slice would reach closer and closer, reaching his actual face for the kill until... instantly, the energy blade would make direct contact with Jiren's skull.
What?
And surprisingly, the former Pride Trooper himself would make absolutely no attempt to vanish or dodge in any way. Luckily though, as the smoke from the blast begins to bellow to his right side, at the very least, nearly no damage has been caused, as Jiren's emotionless face just continues to stare forward until... Looks like I was fast enough after all.
Oh, what?
As
He has
shockingly,
the demon horn
Jiren
now.
would then reveal himself to have finally activated his demonic powers, with a horn having already shot forth and now under his control finally, as with his now Ultra Instinct-esque eyes targeted on Makoto, he would say, "Once I'm done defeating you, you will bring me to Son Goku's killing." Huh? But this horn and lack of damage caused by the fourth blade would only serve to surprise Makoto, as with a stunned look as he stares at the sudden black demonic protrusion out of Jiren's skull, he would comment, horn. A demon's horn. I heard the God Killer from Universe 7 had two, but now you have one as well. Unbelievable. but now with a more serious face, as if understanding only now the force he is dealing with. Makoto would place his sword on his shoulder and think internally, so, it is as Yamoshi told me. These horns are the first signs of a mortal's change to a demon. A confirmation of the cardinal sin you have committed. Before an interesting move, Makoto would then sheath back his sword, saying, though, a demon such as yourself is hardly worthy of dulling my blade. With a stern look then adding, it has been a while since I had faced a demon. I suppose you won't be quite on the level of the emperors I have faced, but I hope you shall suffice for a warm-up. While an
okay, so
unbothered
demon
Jiren
emperors
replied,
must be super strong, then, I
just
guess.
be sure you know where to find those that defeated Son Goku. And instantly, with this said, Makoto would then rush straight forward towards Jiren, while yet again, just like against the katana, he would remain ominously still. And as Makoto would throw both of his fists at the same time in an unorthodox move, Jiren would completely catch both and not move an inch backwards. Leaving the fourth slightly bewildered at why the warrior would hold on so tightly still, as he would say, fast reactions. But what do you intend to do if your arms are restrained too like this? This! As suddenly in a familiar move to what Jiren did to hit,
Oh yeah, I remember that in the show.
the God Killer
Okay.
would begin spinning around both of Makoto's arms at once. What are you? Confusing the fourth to no end with the unique maneuver as he tries his best to fight back against the overpowering strength of the muscle-clad Jiren. Struggling and struggling as Jiren's face remains completely cool, only saying, if this is the power of the five strongest, then perhaps I truly will be able to bring the gods in line through my own methods. What? Eventually then instantly launching the fourth into a full-on speedy spin, with just his technique and strength alone, as the fourth just stares back in complete disbelief at how easily he has been manhandled. But while still in the air and looking like a mini tornado, Jiren would cock back his oversized arm and fist to land a devastating blow. But unfortunately,
He vanished.
just as he extends the punch out fully, Makoto would vanish at the very last second, being nowhere to be seen. Instantly now reappearing behind Jiren, whispering, nice move, but you cannot harm what you are too slow to hit. Cocking back his own fist before... Jiren this time, with his Ultra Instinct inbuilt, would dodge himself.
Oh damn.
Before utterly shattering the words of the fourth that he had just said, slamming a fist directly into the legendary god's face. But as the wounded both physically and in ego fourth would look back angrily, he would grumble, lucky shot, demon! Though undeterred, Jiren himself would lock and load both of his arms back, ready to unleash a barrage of fists.
Okay. Just like he did against Vegeta.
Instantly, Makoto would then find himself forced to bring back both of his arms to defend himself as Jiren's fists rained down non-stop with increasing strength and speed. All the while, Makoto would think, this Jiren, he fights well. Far better than I had expected. immediately then vanishing once more to get out of harm's way. Returning once more from behind with his arm ready to chop through Jiren like he tried with his own katana. But the second God Killer would already be all too aware, looking out the side of his eye. What? Again? But Jiren this time would vanish, just as the fourth had done before. But unlike Makoto, when he reappears, his attack from behind would land instantly.
Damn, this warm-up is not going good for him.
Impact as Jiren's hardened elbow would smack onto the soft back of the fourth skull. And as Makoto would begin stumbling forward in pain, Jiren would raise his arms again, ready to deal another blow. But it would seem the fourth would not be as damaged as he let on, as quickly his body would become an after-image. What?
Yeah, what?
Shockingly then
Yeah, what was
reappearing
that?
to make contact, but in a very different way to what was attempted earlier, as Makoto would appear wrapped around the back of Jiren, with his arms firmly planted around the neck of the God Killer, ready to choke him out. And the legendary god, looking down, pleased at himself, would then say, "You may be big and strong, demon, but you're far too stiff. Can you even reach behind to touch me with all those muscles in the way? Enjoy the view, as these will be your last moments breathing." But as
Oh, damn, he
Makoto
powered
grips
up,
for his
okay.
life, Jiren would answer his chokehold by simply powering up in rage, red fiery aura shooting out, burning all in its path. Which eventually would send Makoto flying off into the distance from the sheer blowback of just Jiren's power, while Jiren himself would instantly then turn around and begin rushing straight forward for the fourth head-on. Switching quickly from a run to now flying ahead as if about to penetrate the fourth with his singular horn. But in reality, as Jiren reaches Makoto in
That
the blink of an eye,
shockwave?
he'd
Oh,
then
no.
win the fourth with his shoulder alone, barging into him at full speed. As the completely taken by surprise Makoto, wide-eyed, would let out, "This strength, how could this even exist down here?" And with the attack finished, Jiren would land gracefully in the distance, as Makoto's damaged body would land behind. And as we look on at his motionless body on the ground, not a word would be said, as if Jiren had actually finally incapacitated the fourth. But an unimpressed Jiren, looking back, would then let out, "Stand down, warrior. This battle is over. I will spare your life if you can tell me where Son Goku's killers are. I will go there myself." But suddenly, as Jiren would make this request, Makoto, as if coming back from the dead, begins raising his body slowly. Before soon enough, he would be up and with a cunning grin on his face, complete with a line of blood running down from his lip, as he would reply, "Impressive. Impressive indeed. I truly did not expect the killer of a lowly destroyer like Belmod to have anything close to the strength you possess. In my eyes, you're even stronger than what I anticipated for Vegito." What a fun turn of events. As Makoto, mid-sentence, would slowly then grab onto the handle of his sword once again, as he would look on at Jiren, now a sense of confidence and security.
I mean, that was just a warm-up, right?
Well, I did say earlier a demon of your level was not even worth dulling my blade. But for that, I must apologize, as it seems you will be worth far more, Jiren the Grey. As Makoto would then unsheath his katana, but interestingly, would begin pointing it towards himself.
Wait, what?
Rather than outwards, as he would laugh. I truly hope you had not.
Well, is he gonna do
convinced
something that,
yourself
you know,
that
Japanese
this is the
samurai
limit
do?
of what the legendary fourth could do.
You know, he's gonna stab himself? I forgot what it's called. I think it's Haikiri or something like that. I kind of forgot.
But Jiren, looking on, would sport a confused face, only wondering as to why the fourth would hold the blade in such a strange fashion until... As suddenly, without a lick of hesitation,
Yeah, I knew that's what he was gonna
the
do.
five strongest would suddenly stab his blade straight through his own body, all the way through, right up until the handle. In obvious pain, as blood begins to seep and his body trembles, but with a crazed smile, the fourth would mutter, "Consider this an honor, for this is an ultimate power no demon before has ever seen. The ultimate power of an angel. The power of an angel that turns his back on God."
What is happening?
Done with the gruesome scene, Makoto would then suddenly slash out his blade from his open wound, causing a waterfall of crimson red blood to burst out. All the while, his huge grin would remain tight on his face, laughing maniacally. Welcome to the end of your life! But just the sight itself of his foe seemingly slaughtering his own self would be enough to send Jiren into a frenzy of confusion.
What is going
As he would
on?
question,
Oh my gosh.
What are you doing? To which Makoto, seemingly more damaged than ever, with his blood loss causing him to just reply weakly, "I'm honoring you, Jiren, former god of destruction of Universe 11, former mortal. What I'm showing you is a forbidden power that lost me my seat at the side of Zeno, a power I adapted from the teachings of the Grand Priest, and a power one day I will use to finally beat those damn gods myself. So, I'm sorry, you will not be the one to avenge Vegito, as I have a score to settle with his killers first." And immediately,
Okay, so he wants to go
finishing
up
that
against the
last
guards,
wicked
okay?
word, Makoto
Wow,
begin
what?
roaring to
What
the
is
heavens,
happening?
his screaming becoming darker in nature as red lightning begins to shoot forth from all directions of his body until... In a shocking sight, one wing would burst forth from the right side of Makoto, just as it did with Z. White in color again, but this
Oh
time...
man, that looked like it.
stained
Bro, that looked like
crimson
it
blood.
hurt. Oh my god.
White features will slowly but surely darken in color over time. And even with the wing launched out, Makoto's power would not cease to flux out, creating a wind so great, even Jiren, who would not flinch for a literal katana blade to the face, would begin covering himself. It feels so good to be back in this form. My own version of a seraphim! As Makoto would then stand up finally, with his sword finally now faced away from himself, and though still leaking with blood, he would appear more energized than ever, before yelling out with a scream, "Now, Jiren the God Killer, live up to your name and show me why you are worthy of dying to the first and only Blood Angel!
Blood Angel. Oh, damn.
With his sword now in tow for the first time, Makoto in his seraphim form, complete with a glowing red eye, would launch himself with instantaneous speed to Jiren. What? But it would seem not by choice, but rather his own body and mind just were not able to react in time. As Makoto would land on the other side of the God Killer, his sword extended as if he had just moved through Jiren like a ghost. And
damn.
soon, the after effects of the fourth's movement are seen, as in a delayed response to his speed, Jiren's right arm would explode in blood, as a sudden slice would appear, completely unexpected and undetected by the former Pride Trooper. All the while,
Damn, Jiren, bro.
Makoto
You gotta
would
power
be
up, bro.
giggling,
You
looking
gotta
out
go
with
full
red
power, bro,
seraphim
already, I
eye
guess.
And commenting, Jiren the Grey, huh? What a boring color. Let me help you and add some flair. And just like that, once more, the fourth would immediately move past and through Jiren once again, sword in hand, at this moment almost appearing more like instant transmission than just speed. As Makoto would ominously finally say, I say, it's time to kick this up a notch. As suddenly, from out of nowhere, not just one more, but multiple slices and cuts would appear all over Jiren's body. Each one sadistically done to maim the God Killer rather than actually kill him. Every cut done so fast and so consecutively, Jiren would have barely any time to even react in pain. That is until moments later, when the true level of just how many slices Jiren had undergone finally hits him, as blood begins to burst out of every slice like mini volcanoes, as Makoto, with his back turned, would just smirk and let out, "Sorry, warrior, but nobody who feels the blade of the Blood Angel ever lives to tell the tale. Bloody Slash's technique times 1,000. And as Jiren is left alone in the distance, just succumbing slowly to his wounds, his body would begin to tumble and lose balance.
Whoa!
Falling and creating puddles on the floor as he struggles to even talk before. Son Goku. In his final words, he would call out.
He didn't even go full power. I mean, he did say he wasn't gonna wait, right?
Lifeless.
Whoa.
As then, he would finally then.
Makoto said he wasn't gonna wait. He did say that.
Unable to take any more of the complete rush of pain and agony dished out by Makoto. Now flat on his face, as an ungodly amount of blood begins to seep out from all of his open wounds. And with the battle over, Makoto would then just sheath back his sword. His eyes closed as he offers a final word of respect, noting, "It is done. You fought well, however, and I shall remember your name for the rest of my days. I leave your body now for the Grand Priest to do as he wishes, but I hope one day we can meet again in the Demon Realm." Before opening his eyes and saying a final goodbye, Jiren. And then flying off into the sky with his lone wing in tow, as Jiren would remain deceased on the ground below. But as time passes and we see Jiren's body unmoving on the battlefield from a distance, as we zoom closer in, something unusual begins to happen. His hand remaining cold like stone until black lightning from nowhere begins to cover the great hero of Universe 11 once more.
Okay.
It seems the battle between the fourth of the 5 strongest and the second God Killer has only just begun.
Wow. Wow, okay. Damn. Makoto seems goated, guys. I'm not gonna lie, Makoto actually seems goated. He seems like a cool character, definitely. We'll have to see who this next God of Destruction is. I don't even know what they're talking about, but I guess we're gonna find out. Jiren, I'm glad Jiren's not done yet, man. He didn't even go full power, so now we're gonna get Jiren full power, guys. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, of course. I'm gonna get the next episode, guys. Like I said, road to season 2, gotta catch up. I'll see you guys then, and peace out.